Da, 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 da. Hello, hello. Hi, hello. Are we here? Are we live? Excellent connection on YouTube, and Twitch is not, unfortunately. Huh. Interesting. Oh, I'm too scared to mess with it now, actually. Hi, everyone. How are y'all doing? Hello, hello, hello. Sorry, I do not seem to be on Twitch at the moment. I got an error as soon as I started the stream, which definitely did not give me a heart attack and uh, a stroke and all the bad things at once. And yeah, I thought it wasn't working, and then I look and I can see on OBS it's saying that it's like 1 minute, oh, not 1 minute, but oh, you've been live for like 10 seconds on YouTube. I'm like, oh, this is a very easy job, and it is not stressful at all. Okay, well, yeah, the first part's true. Okay, I'm a little worried that it might need me to stop streaming and then start streaming again. You know, turn it off and on again, that whole thing. Can I shouldn't have to add a new target because it's... Oh, no, I'm too scared to touch that. Actually, no. We're not streaming on Twitch today. I'm so sorry. It's just, I'll fix that after here, after we're done. Oh. Can't believe she's gonna fight Anatomy live. This is amazing. Yeah, no, exactly. It's fisticuffs. Sick. Okay. So, aside from that little bit of a stumble, that's... Oh, shame. That's a bit unfortunate. If I reload it, is it gonna tell me that I'm live? No, it's not. I'm not equipped with the knowledge to handle this. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm sorry. I am so sorry, everyone who intended to watch on Twitch, which is a very small minority of you, I am aware, but I am very sorry. I wonder if there's a way I can, like, notify. I said when I started streaming on Twitch I would learn how to use it, and I have yet to learn how to use it. I kind of just ignored it. when I turn OBS on, it runs, and that's all I needed to know. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, no. I think it might require me to like actually restart OBS. So I'm not gonna sacrifice the stream because I know I'm gonna have to start a new one once I stop this one. And that just feels like too much hassle for me. It sounds like too much hassle for you guys. So I think we're just gonna leave Twitch for today. We will see Twitch next week. Okay. Hello, everybody. Today we are gonna do a little bit of an informal study on anatomy. I did not pay attention to anatomy for, I'm gonna say, the first decade of me learning how to draw. Okay, in my defense, I was a child when I started, but still. I didn't take anatomy seriously for a very long time because I was so comfortable just going at my own pace and learning how things worked for myself. To the point where I still kind of just do not, like, my brain does not go, oh, I need to, like, look at a real hand or look at, like, what other, like, the actual... I have an anatomy textbook that I can go to for references. I just don't use it, and I'm like, well, if I can't draw it right the first time, I'll just keep trying until I eventually, like, until it looks right in my brain. And it for sure has slowed down the process of me learning anatomy or, like, drawing good. But it has been my method my whole life, and God forbid I change it. Now that having been said, let's draw anatomy. Talk about it a little bit. I kind of have something that I wanted to sort of add in as a little bit of a surprise thing for the stream, but I'm still kind of debating if I want to do it or not. Which I think I do, because it is anatomy adjacent. But let me think on it a little bit longer, and then we will... and then we shall decide. Oh, and I imagine this will be a bit of a smaller stream than usual, because it is Thanksgiving in the US. So for all of those who cannot be here, sucks to suck. Hope you're having a wonderful time with your families, and I hope whoever is handling the steak knives is not clumsy. Anyway. Yeah, so... not entirely sure where to start with this, because you basically have, like, the concept of working through anatomy is so massive and complex, and it is definitely not something I can just kind of go like, well, you see, you do this, because I am in no way a complete expert about it. Hence it being my Ananatenenomy. My textbook also has quite a bit of nudity, so I don't think I can show it on stream. It is all very artistic nudity, but it is still, unfortunately, no allow. I think I can if it's educational, but I'm not going to risk it. But that having been said, and like with me like bashing anatomy and like, oh, I don't like it and I don't use it, it is the best possible way for you to learn how to draw quicker and more professionally, and it's genuinely just it is the smartest thing to learn if your goal is to get better at art, especially if you want to draw people. If you want to draw landscapes, draw landscapes. If you ever want to draw people, you have to learn anatomy, and that is the part that sucks for me. But there are a lot of ways that you can approach it, right? So the way that I was taught it, there are multiple ways to approach just drawing the human figure in general. So you can go more like, okay, so we're going to break everything down into rough shapes, and we're going to do like, you've definitely seen something like this before, where it's like we're doing the stick method almost, where it's like a stick figure, and then you have, as you can see, the rib cage, and then the hips, and then you have your and then yeah. So it's yeah. What are they called? Ball joints, stick 'em all. Anyway, so you have that method of drawing people, right? Where you break everything down into its most basic shapes. This is fine. It's not the way that I typically like to do it anymore. I did draw my frames a lot like this, but I found that when I did, it sort of didn't force me into it, but I found that it made me draw the same type of body every time. And so I wanted a little bit more like variety with that. So can you Kindle them? No classical leaf censorship. Yeah, sorry, hang on. There you go. Anyway, I think I think a lot of people have questions if I leave it there. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I've seen a lot of artists using them to base their anatomy upon, and it's a good method, don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing it or anything. It's maybe a good method to start with if you are like beginning to learn, and then it's maybe a good spot to carry on with once you are an expert. I'm just not sure if it's something that, like, if you are busy learning anatomy, it's like the wisest choice for it. Oh, I didn't put the... I keep forgetting to refresh it once I've opened the the chat. Give me a second. And there we go. Okay. It just needs me to... It's literally just like you need to refresh it once you open Axel chat, and I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. Okay. Yeah, so... And yeah, if you're a professional, like, it does really help to have, like, okay, you know this, you got this, you got this, and then, like, even if you break it down into more, like, 3D shapes like that, is also fun. Again, this method doesn't super work for me. Whoops. It's all good. Okay. Oh, hang on a quick second. And okay, sorry for the dead silence for like a full minute. Okay. As I was saying, yeah. So if you are, it all really depends on how your brain works. Actually, at the end of the day, I shouldn't be saying like, oh, do this if you're like intermediary, do this if you're advanced. Like, because at the end of the day, it is entirely up to what you are best at. And this works really well for some people because they like breaking it down into like the most basic sort of like general shapes. Yeah, so this is very similar to this, but it's just more 3D. And then you get the way that one of my instructors would do it, where... Hang on, how would they do it? They would start with the silhouette. And then what they would do is they would just mold the sort of silhouette, and then I'm not gonna do it quite the same way that they did because I'm not good at the way that they did it. It didn't make sense to my brain, which is why I'm sort of emphasizing that, like, hey, this works for some people, doesn't work for other people. The wood mannequin for drawing in a more three-dimensional manner. Yeah. But then, yeah, so you had that, and then sort of framed it like that, and then... Or I think you can even use the lasso tool. Some people do. Maybe I'm wrong. Such a professional, guys. I don't know what's going on. Okay. And... I keep making these too big. And that's actually, that's what I was talking about when I did the Halloween streams, the Inktober streams, because that is, in a way, you're carving out these different shapes and making an image out of them. Anyway, so they would start off with sort of this like shape that's pretty generic. You kind of see where everything sort of is supposed to be, but then you chisel it away like it's like you're sculpting almost on a 2D plane, and then you can add in the chin, and you can like, okay, and here's where the rest of the face is, and then you can sort of do that, and then okay, there's the eyebrows and there's the face, and then you sort of like go like, okay, and that's where the nose is, and then you sort of add in the forehead, and you kind of know where everything's supposed to be. You can add in some ears there, and then the ears get chiseled down a bit like that, and then you're constantly just working in this like silhouette. And that's a pretty common approach that I saw while I was busy studying just digital art in general. And that was like a pretty, yeah, that was kind of the way a lot of my lectures were taught. So that's also a method you can use. And then there's the way that a lot of animators tend to learn. Let's make that 5. Sculpting is indeed 3D drawing, exactly. It's 3D 2D drawing. Ooh, another thing I've noticed is that my less muscular drawings look more androgynous. I mean, true. It's I suppose it depends on how you approach it. I suppose muscles are typically taught on the male body and not so much on the female body. So it would make sense that they would be what you gravitate towards, but I don't know. I'm kind of talking out my ass a little bit. And then we go with the animator way, where again, you're breaking things into shapes, but it's a lot softer in a way, if that makes sense. So got something like that, and then you're still working with these sort of just general shapes. But then this is more fleshed out. And this is actually the way that I have started sort of gravitating towards in my own drawings, because it allows me to make a wider variety of body types and not just sort of stick with the exact same ones. See, and like that, and like that. And that way you can sort of create these more softer, how do you say it? It's definitely softer. It's almost floppy in the way it feels. It's not so angular, it's not so structured. It feels like you can move better. Oh, hello. The music picked up. All the other kids with their pumped up kids. That's not the song, but it is fun. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so you have these much... Yeah, it feels... Okay, so do you, if you have like dabbled in animation at all, you know about the bag of flour practice, where the goal is to just literally take a bag of flour and then make it... I'm sorry, the music's a little bit distracting. Okay, take the bag of flour and then you basically just animate it, I think, doing different things. Like you can animate it rolling over, you can animate it jumping, you can animate it like, okay, how would it like run? And it's kind of similar in that way. I'm maybe not explaining it the best possible way that I can. But yeah, the idea is that it's softer, moves easier, and then you can also follow the line of action much easier as well. And actually, the line of action is pretty important across all of these. But for animation specifically, at least when it was taught to me, it was emphasized as something that's like, it's still important. Here it's more so important, if that makes sense. Yeah. And that's kind of the basics of at least getting like your frames ready, right? So if we, let's see, start with just your generic male figure. I say generic, they'll probably be a little bit fitter than the generic male figure, just because even in learning anatomy, you tend to have a very standard body type. Let's see. Sorry, I'm flipping through my textbook. If you actually, hang on, let me put in the description the name of it as well, because I feel like that would be quite useful. Anatomy. Anatomy for Sculptors, understanding the human figure. Sorry, my keyboard's all the way to the left of me just because I need to make space for the tablet, so it makes typing an absolute chore. By Uldis. Zarins. I'm definitely pronouncing wrong and I apologize. Okay. Textbook I use to learn all of my anatomy is Anatomy for Sculptors, Understanding the Figure. Okay, cool. And that way you guys can at least look at this resource that I'm going to keep talking about but not show you. It is unfortunately a paid resource. I wish I could show you free ones, but this is kind of my one-stop shop for it, just because it does contain pretty much everything you could possibly want to know. And it does specify that it's for sculptors, but that just means that they show... they're still showing all the anatomy and everything. It's just with the idea that like you're going to be looking at cross sections and you're going to be looking at the actual like every single part of it and trying to make a 3D sculpture out of it, which is still very important for 2D art because you are trying to turn 3D into 2D. So it's still like all the rules still apply really. And they really do just describe the human body in like extreme detail and like, okay, here's what this is called, here's what these are, this is what this muscle is in this back in the back here, right? So let me see if I can find a decent example. I would never come prepared to a stream. What are you talking about? Yeah, so literally if you want to look at like the human neck, right? Okay, so let's take our average male man and just give him a little bit side view. Head's looking up, here's the neck. There's the chin. And I'm kind of screwing this up a little bit because I'm working too fast, but that's okay. Maybe. Anyway, so the textbook itself pretty much breaks every single part of the body down like that. So this is the something something something, which is extremely important, and then that's sort of highlighted here, and then they give you points and they say that's what it's called and that's what it looks like and that's how it frames itself. And then like, okay, here's all the different parts of the jaw over here, and then yeah, just tons and tons and tons of details and muscle groups and how everything works. And it's extremely useful, especially if that's the way your brain works, where you want to be able to sort of look at things and see, okay, that's what it looks like, that's what it is under the skin, and that is how I can tell that my anatomy like looks wrong or is wrong or whatever. It doesn't really work for me, but it works for a lot of other people, so that's, again, completely up to you. If that's the way you are, that's the way you got it. Oh, hi Jisoo. Thank you for coming. Yeah, no, it's no pressure at all. Very low-key stream today, even though I know I sound vaguely panicked. I'm just sometimes I come into streams and I plan ahead very thoroughly, and sometimes like today I kind of just come in to whatever. But yeah, I think I've covered more or less like the major ones of at least building like your basic human structure, body. And then once you've got everything measured out and anatomically correct, or at least you should if you've been practicing, you can go into more detail with the different ways of, you know, drawing bones and muscles and that. Like, for example, the back is a very difficult thing to draw because people often don't look at it. It's one of those things that like you focus on the front a lot and then the back becomes, some people, no, they figure it out, but it's not the first thing that people learn. And that makes sense. The first thing you learn is the face, it's the hands, it's the front of the body, maybe the feet. And then, yeah, the more you work on it, the more of like the different anatomy. I'm going to say the word so many times it's going to lose meaning for me, but learn as much as you possibly can. Oh, funny thing, when drawing animals, I tend to use their skull for reference. That's so cool. And that's exactly what I mean. It's so useful for some people to know that sort of stuff going into their art. And I don't know if I'd be able to draw the same amount of information you can from looking at just skulls, but that's sick as hell. That's awesome. So obviously the part that I'm kind of outlining here is the rib cage, right? And that's pretty universal when you're drawing bodies, is that like there it is there again, it's there it is there again. You can kind of see it here, it would probably be outlined like that. It's a pretty important, like actually the only place where it's not really important is this one, but even then it kind of is. I didn't need to include it just for the general like shape, but it is still important. For example, like here, where it's pretty vital that you know where the ribcage ends, because once you finish the ribcage, the body changes. Its shape changes, because now you don't have that frame that you're working around anymore. You just got like all the soft guts here, right? Yes, that is the technical term for it, right? And then you've got the hips. And this is actually something that I'm still kind of learning, and I figured it out more or less, but sometimes I do have to go back and go like, oh god, how many like bumps are there? Just because for a very long time I just eyeballed it and I'm like, okay, so you've got like the rib cage, you've got that, you've got that, you've got that, and then you've got, of course, your you know, that the hip bones, the pelvis, thank you, sorry, and then I would just kind of do that, and it was like, hey, it works, you know, it's fine, and then you keep just like building on it in a similar way to how this works, except the way I do it is just with lines, and that has its benefits and its drawbacks. It works a lot better for me. That's just how my brain works, and that's just how I taught myself to draw as well when I was younger. I work a lot better with lines, but for a lot of other people, they want that ability to carve and shape and go back and change and not have to worry about all these scribbles that are like distracting them in the back. And that makes a lot of sense as well. I can't fault anyone for wanting to be that way. But yeah, so I would always draw the rib cage. I knew where the ribs ended, and then I would just kind of do like that, right? And that, like, it works, I suppose. If you are interested in art and the algorithm knows that, they've probably shown you some of those, like, YouTube shorts where it's like, this is the wrong way to do it, and then, like, this is the right way to do it. And I hope you know what I'm talking about. I find those vaguely annoying. But that is genuinely how I drew for quite a while, so I guess I can't fault them for showing the obvious to people, because I was missing the obvious for a very long time. Anyway, so this is sort of that space between the ribs and the hips, right? But then the secret is that there's kind of two hips, if that makes sense. Like, again, none of my terminology is going to be accurate. It's all going to be like, I think there's like two lumps here, and there's two things there, and there's like a couple things here. I am not an expert. I am not a lecturer. I'm not an educator of any kind. I'm just a guy on the internet who did this. Which is something I try to remind myself a lot, especially when you get like those internet courses. Anyway, so the idea is that you've got this sort of like second pair of hips here, and then you have like the actual hips, quote unquote. And the idea is that you've got the bone here, and I think that's the beginning of the pelvis, but I'm not entirely sure. And then you've got just your second one here, and that's like where your belt goes, right? And I'm showing it kind of badly because it's from the back, but you can see how that looks a little bit more natural. Maybe I have gotten my proportions a little bit wrong. This is me fighting with anatomy. I'm trying to talk it through like I know what I'm doing. I don't. Yeah, I'm a lot better at the top up here. I don't know why I didn't start there. Anyway, so that's the shoulder blades, of course. And it goes here. It's quite interesting because you've got this sort of like bit of muscle there, right? And you can see that on the front and you can see that on the back. It's not shown as much on the back, but it is still important. And then you've got your the spine, but the spine is concave, so it's not like you have these, unless you are extremely underweight, you're not going to see the skeleton. The spine. It's going to be concave. which is pretty interesting. And then you have a lovely little diamond right here where the rib cage ends in this part of the body. And it's pretty much, I think it's one of the few parts of the body that isn't affected by excess body fat. It's just kind of there. And that doesn't change, right? And so you've got the rib cage. And you've got the shoulder blades. That. And then this isn't part of the shoulder blades. This is actually a muscle. And that's the muscle that goes over like the shoulder like that, right? If I am saying anything wrong and you know better, please say so in the comments and I will be very embarrassed about it, but I will not ignore you. And then again, it's I find it much easier to work by just outlining the shape and then whittling my way in with like deeper and darker lines. And you go like that, and you go like that, and you go like that. And then of course you got the hands. Ooh. What Hannah is referring to is the anterior superior iliac spine. They are the upper hip bones. Oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me what I'm talking about. I do very much appreciate that. Anyway, so above that, I have slightly misjudged the length of these, and I'm gonna bring them up like that. And we're just gonna, he can have like his hand on his shoulder, like that. Like he's stretching. No, he isn't. I'm lying. I keep wanting to make his head bigger, but that's because I draw in cartoon proportions so often that I can't actually draw proper in proportion heads unless I have a reference, which is a little bit concerning. But it's not stopped me so far. It might be purple. Maybe. Anyway, and then of course there's all the arm muscles that you kind of have to pay attention to. There's the elbow, which means that the hand is kind of stretching like that, and then the bones are like that, and then you got... This is the part that's kind of difficult. I've done quite a few studies on it. And by studies, I mean I've like sat down for an afternoon and drawn it over and over again. But I still can't quite make that information stick. And that's kind of one of the hardest things about learning anatomy, is that like you have to make the information stick once you've drawn it. And that is the part that takes the absolute longest to happen. Or maybe it's just me, because that was the hard thing for me. It's just making the anatomy stick. Because again, I default to what I think it should look like. And I keep going until it feels right to me. But just because it feels right to me doesn't actually mean it's anatomically correct. And then there's also another diamond up here. Very similar to the last one, but then this one stretches up into the neck. And I believe if you are stretching a certain way, that part you can actually see the spine at. I think if you're bending over with your head down, then you can see like 2 or 3 of the columns, pieces, spine pieces. Oh no. Pro artist tip: get someone to date you so you can use them as a drawing reference late at night. Neither you or them will be enjoying the process, but at least you will have a model. Let's see. Go back to the elbows. And then you have a little bit of a wiggly here because the skin is quite taut here. You don't get like flabby elbows. Even when you have excess body fat, the elbows tend to just be, there's no fat pockets there, right? It's just bone and skin. Which means if you do have fat, it's going to be around here and it's going to be around there. And that's also where the muscles are. Huzzah! And yeah, I'm again, I'm not an expert. How would the pens look like that? And then here you can see the same issue here. So you have the hip, but that's not the leg. The leg is not the hip and the hip is not the leg. They are two different parts of the body, which means where the hip ends, the leg starts. And it's a completely different like bundle of fat and muscle and tissue and all that other stuff that goes down to here. And a lot of people kind of just draw them like ovals, which is fine. That's a great place to start. But they are, again, it's similar to the arms. It's like they look very simple, but there's so much detail in like the muscles and how they twist, and you can tell when it's wrong. Even if you are not an artist, even if you don't have an eye for it, if it's wrong, something in your brain goes like, nah, that's not right. And yeah, that's the hard part of drawing anatomy in general. That's so cool. Yeah, I didn't know so many of you guys were so knowledgeable in these fields. It's very, very cool. I kind of feel like an idiot trying to explain to actual like real professionals in health and the sciences. So maybe I'll stop talking like I know anything and just start tackling it properly. Because it's... oh, I'm a mix of humanities and sciences as a psychology student. Cool. Your eye. You love me. Oh, that's so flattering. Oh, I'm gonna take that as the highest compliment. Yeah, no. So art, it's completely different from like the hard sciences. I completely get that. It's kind of interesting how same but different. Does that make sense? Like if you want to be a really good artist, you have to have some kind of interest and some kind of fascination in the human body and how it works, and some kind and an understanding, at least later on in your career, of how the body moves and the body works. And that's similar to some of like what you need to know for if you study like medicine. But like they could not be further apart in like requirements, discipline, like level of knowledge. It's kind of insane, but it is interesting. And I'm sure if I had more time to think of it, I'd come up with some very flowery language about how it's all connected. It's all for the humanity. As a pure humanities student, I'm starting to feel surrounded. I know. This isn't our place anymore. I think it surprised me we have 5 vertebrae in the back. Nice. There are so many genera I've never heard of before. Oh. Yeah. No. Draw good does not mean no anatomy good, is the only problem. So let's see if I can find some actual reference poses. I had a wonderful website that would literally just, it randomized poses, and then you could like select for certain things. So you can say like, okay, I only want female, or I only want younger people, or I only want clothes models or nude models, right? And it would not only give you, because a common exercise when practicing anatomy is that you have these like timed sort of exercises. So you'd have, okay, 20 seconds, draw this model that you see, right? And then the idea is that you practice with that, and it allows you to just focus on the most important parts of the body. And it's like, okay, you need to get your shapes right, you need to get like the basic idea of how to quickly draw a body, and that's again where these very simple sort of frames come into it. And then yeah, it would lengthen over time, and then it would like, so we'll do 3 exercises 20 seconds each, and then we'll do 3 exercises of 1 minute each, and then we'll do 2 exercises of 5 minutes each, and then we'll do 1 exercise of like 20 minutes. And it was such a good source. And then I had it open in a tab forever, and then all my tabs closed because of something that happened. I forget now. I think I had to update the browser, and it closed all the tabs, and I lost everything. And I never found it again. Such a pity. But let's see if I can find a figure to... something that I can just sort of use as a reference and start drawing, and then that'll be a nice practice, right? Only covered model. Da, 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 da. Okay. Maybe? No. Ooh, ballerina pose. Oh, that is a difficult one to do. Let's try. Ah. Oh, I wanted to ask if this is a human anatomy stream or a humanoid anatomy stream. Because I want to draw humanoids, but I always end up with something weird, like a chimpanzee that looks too much like a human and not enough like a chimp. I'd say human, just because that's the most similar. The thing about, like, okay, so humanoid is like, your rules are not going to change that much. You're still going to have the forelimbs, the hands, the, the rib cage, most likely. Like, it's the only things that'll really change, I imagine, if it is humanoid, is the proportions. And even then, it's only if you choose for them to be different. It's... because, like, okay, so let's say you're drawing, like, an alien, right? Hang on, we're getting distracted, but let's just say you're drawing an alien. And you want them to look humanoid, right? So let's try and do, like, your very classic blue alien. Here's the head. And we'll give them a very elongated neck, because for some reason all aliens are, like, very tall, very slender, very physically attractive. Well, you know, they fit in with what has been historically viewed as traditionally aesthetically attractive. They'll still have the rib cage, they'll still have the spine, they'll still have their pelvis. See, I'm learning, I'm remembering all the terms. And then they would still have their arms. Let's say the arms are quite a bit longer than what humans would be. And then we'll give them funky long legs. Let's make you a little bit smaller, because as nice as you are kind of taking up a lot of the page. And actually, let's put you down here. There we go. And now we've made space for the aliens. And then we'll give him regular legs. And you can see that, like, I've carved out, like, the general shape. And because they're supposed to be quite slender, they're supposed to be quite tall and elongated, I've shaped out how I want, like, okay, so that's, like, the legs, right? And it's fairly simple to do this curve here, because that is very common to what you see in posing, where it's like the foreleg, the thigh goes out like this, and then as you come to the feet, the lower leg, the foreleg? I keep saying foreleg. the shin sort of curves inwards, and that's just because of the structure of the bones, the way they interlock, and just the way that you tend to balance yourself as a bipedal creature. And then you have that, and I'm talking completely out of my ass again because it is just it's just how you draw humans standing, and I can only assume it's because of that's how you balance, and that's how it looks. That's just how it looks, right? A lot of the things that I've learned in anatomy can just kind of boil down to, well, that's how it looks, right? Ooh, now I want to see you draw a human with horse hooves. That'd be cool. Oh, that sounds cool. Okay, you guys are coming up with better ideas than me. Hang on, horse hooves. Or something like what was it? It was that show 3 Below. I really liked how the aliens were designed in that because they had like, not feet, they ended in like elephant stumps, right? And that was such a very basic thing, but I remember thinking like, oh, I love that, because it reminded me of like old cartoons from like the 2000s and how they would draw their characters without feet, because it was, I assume, easier, but it was also part of the art style. And that was on its own. Okay, let's give him very long fingers as well. Just a very long boy. And then, assuming what you want them to look like, you can you can get an idea of how the anatomy looks based on like the surface appearance of them, right? So assuming they have these like huge eyes, you can then like change that into like, okay, well, here's the skull, massive spaces for the the eye sockets. And then, or not even, let's say they breathe like through their, we'll do the avatar thing. They breathe through their clavicle, or, you know, the area around the neck. Then what would they have here, right? Do they have teeth? Do they need teeth? Do they need to even consume like sustenance food? It's just questions that you ask yourself while you're drawing them, which maybe you talked over in your head or with other people before you even started drawing, or maybe this is something that you're coming up with on the fly. If it is something you're coming up with on the fly, don't be upset when it doesn't look good the first time round, because it almost definitely won't. But like, yeah, so you would have like, okay, let's say he does have teeth, so he consumes a lot of food, and then again you're asking yourself the question, okay, cool, did they evolve to eat, are they herbivores, are they omnivores, are they carnivores, right? So let's say this guy is a carnivore, so he would have these extremely sharp teeth. These are not anatomically correct because they would have, you know, longer canines, You would have to look at actual carnivores' mouths and teeth and fangs, and so like, okay, so there's the canines and here's the front teeth, and the front teeth are flatter, and then the molars are the parts that, like, you know, chew all the food, so they have to be strong and like wide and thick and stuff like that. And then you go like that, and then you can have the cheekbones here, and then that's all that. And then you can have, like, I don't know, a big hollow space in the forehead where, like, it's like an LED light. And then that would all be broken down into, like, parts, because that's not the way that the skull looks, but that certainly is the way the skull kind of looks, because when you have infants are born, they have these very large heads and a lot of soft spots, and then the heads sort of like come together like a jigsaw over time. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm trying to remember why. Because I remember in human skulls it's like that, and then you have like that in toddlers, isn't it? And then like it kind of sort of sticks around in like the adult skulls. I should probably Google things before I start talking about them like I know what I'm talking about. Aha! They do, kind of, not really. Yeah, like you get your they look like cracks. But is it just a skull being cracked? No, it isn't. They're uniform. Okay. I am correct. I will not be taking alternative answers on why I may not be correct. And then you have, of course, you know, your vertebrae, Oh, yeah, vertebrae. And then, yeah, so super long neck, very long spine. The spine would probably have to be supported somewhere here, maybe by a stronger this part here, this part here maybe they would have, I don't know, because that's the thing. If you do add extra bones to a humanoid creature, there has to be a reason for it. You can't just add stuff willy-nilly. Or maybe you can. It depends on how, like, close to realism you want to be. The fun thing about fiction, you can do whatever you want forever. But if you do want to be more scientific about it, then you should stick close to what you know works and only change things if you know they have to be changed. And there is an argument for why they should be changed. So like if you were doing a collaborative project with someone, you could go to them and give them a convincing argument for why this needs to be here. And if you can't even convince yourself that there's a reason for it to be there, then it probably shouldn't be there. And that is only if you're working for like really scientific elements, or trying to stick as close to realism as possible. You don't actually have to do that if you're like creating a cartoon fantasy world, right? Or high fantasy even. You don't have to worry too much depending on the genre, depending on how you want to write your story or your world or create your creatures. Hope that makes a lot of sense. I'm drumming on the point a little bit hard. Let's see. There's where the chest would be. And then again, it's aliens, so would they have mammary glands? Would they need to breastfeed? Let's say they do, then even the males would probably have the same kind of chest structure as as humans do, even if they do not need to provide milk as they are males. Or maybe the males are the ones that provide the milk. And then you have like this whole internal logic that you need to develop for why that is and how that is. And you're essentially building the creature as you go as well. Again, this is something that you maybe could have done beforehand and be like, okay, this is a species, everything's swapped around, this is what they do, they produce venom and stuff like that. And then your job is to work backwards from there to be like, okay, cool, so now I need to find a place for the venom to be, I need to find a place for it to be removed from the creature. Is it through fangs? Is it through spit? Is it through this? And then you can look at real life animals that produce venom, and you can say, okay, how do they do it? And they're pretty much all through fangs and biting, right? And or maybe it's different. Like one of my favorite arguments for like not arguments, but realistic depictions of dragons are the ones where they produce the a natural gas, I think it is. Natural acids in their stomach were flammable or something like that. Maybe that is still How to Train a Dragon. I don't know. Alien moves. Well, that's the thing. It's like I'm working my way down, so I'm kind of just talking about like every part of the body as you look at it. So it's like, okay, cool. And then they look like this. And then you have, this is where the rib cage ends in the front. And then you follow it down through here. So it's like that, and he's quite skinny because you can see his entire like frame of like the ribs and everything. He's got a very flat stomach because you can only see the flat part of the stomach. You can only see these when it's a flat stomach. Yeah, no. I had to think on it for a second. And then the rib ends, and then you have this part here that's just organs, and then you have the upper hip. Because if the pelvis is the same, then it makes sense that everything else would be the same. And you have this, and then you have this. The upper hip, and then the regular hip, and then you and then there's your knee. And then when it comes to legs, they can be just sausages, but they aren't sausages. So you can do if you do make them sausages, make them angled like this, right? So it expands on the top here, and then the bottom here, and then that's just when it's front facing. If you're looking at it on the side, this part is also the back. So you expand it like that. That makes no sense, and I am aware of it. But again, it's difficult because it's difficult to explain a lot of the stuff because it is stuff that like I don't think about in language. It's the eye, it's the training, your ability to spot things and be like, oh, okay, so when things are turned like that, they look like that, right? And that's kind of just this. I talk a lot about like writing being a very personal process and it being such an individual experience and individual learning curve. And I think it's kind of the exact same for art, where it is just like you have to figure out how it works for you, and there are plenty of resources out there that will give you the best possible chance to learn and find what methods work best for you, but ultimately it is up to you to learn what works for you. If that doesn't sound super cruel. Yeah, it's those worlds. Yeah, someone mentioned Dungeon Meshi, and it's exactly like that. It's I am so fascinated by worlds. Oh, was Dungeon Meshi the one that explained it that way? Hang on. This alien is canon to the Immortalverse. It's a million layers away and will never interact with Tala. Yeah, sure, I'll incorporate that into the world building. But yeah, no, so you've got, okay, and then they've got like less fingers, right? And then that has to apply for the hands as well. And then it would probably have to apply for every single mammal-like creature on their planet as well, just for uniformity's sake. And again, trying to stick it as close to the real world as possible. And then you have your... There we go, 3 fingers, and then we'll just make that 3 toes. And then the idea from there is that, yeah, and you've still got, like, the anatomy doesn't change, it just changes shape. You've still got the same, like, the idea there is that you've still got the same number of bones in the forearm. It's the same 2, and you've got the same 1 up here, and you've got the same rib cage, you've got the same innards, you've got the same digestive system. And then if any of that is something you want to change, you have to change it in a way that both makes sense for the creature and makes sense for it to have evolved in that way. And I suppose make it universal for the planet that they are on, for the creatures that most closely resemble them. So like all mammals have 4 limbs and the same sort of like structure for the digestive system. The hearts are all like on the same side. I know that that's probably not true for a couple fringe species. But that's like the thing, and it's like that's why people say like, okay, well, wyverns could realistically exist but not dragons, because dragons would then have 6 limbs, and that doesn't happen in reptiles. And that's sick. I love that. I love that attention to detail. The hard part is executing it. Like, I understand I'm saying all this stuff like, oh, and then you need to do this, and then you need to do this, and then you need to do this, and that's not really helping. That's just making a laundry list for you. So I understand if that's not like the most helpful thing on the planet. Actually, that would make a pretty interesting video. Maybe later. So that's kind of all the thoughts I can have off the top of my head for that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to claim to be like an expert on speculative evolution in any form of it, because I'm not an expert on like science or evolution or biology. So I could give you a very soft science look at it, but I don't think I'd be able to explain why so many things happen the way they happen. I think I think Biblionia might be a better one for that. Why is his arm so long? The proportions feel like A proportions. You know, I was just kind of doing stuff, I'm gonna be honest. He alien, he long. Okay. Where was I? All right, horse hooves. Because that's an interesting thing, because then you're changing, and yes, I know this is an Uma Musume reference. Kind of. I mean, they do have, like, normal feet in the anime. And then their shoes are the ones that have, like, the horseshoes, and they're, like, horseshoe-shaped, almost. Let's see. That would be pretty fun. So, the idea is that you would still stand like that, but then you would probably have to lean back a little bit more to balance yourself out, right? And because then your center of gravity would be something like that. So because you're leaning out so far, you would have to lean back quite a bit to just counterbalance yourself. Let's see, so like that. And then I say this because horse hooves typically do that. So you have something like that, and then I actually drew a horse at the beginning of this week, so I kind of remember what they look like. Lucky me. Okay. It was for work stuff, so nothing interesting, unfortunately. But okay, and then there, and then there, and then there, and then there, and then there. So it would look like that, where your line would then go like, yeah. So the leg is turned on the side here, and then I think, oh, that's the difficult thing, because horse hooves are single fingertips, aren't they? Fingers. Like that's one finger, if I'm not remembering incorrectly. And then, yeah, the way a leg works for a horse is they have the front here. So that's the front there. They have the front there. This turns this way, this turns this way, this turns that way. Okay, right. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm probably misremembering wrong, but that's okay. This is me making notes. This isn't an actual tutorial. Okay, and then, so that would be 1, 2, 3, so you'd have to add another one, which would elongate the leg. And then where would that be? Because then it would turn like that. Oh no, that wouldn't work at all, actually. It would have to stay 3. Okay. Otherwise you'd have her doing like that. Wait. No, that would not look good. I had a second there. I had a second of madness. I love thinking about how horses stand on a single fingernail per leg. It's creepy, isn't it? I couldn't get it out of my mind once I learned it. Horses confirmed in the next chapter of Mortal. No, it was for day job stuff. Don't worry. Okay. Please don't get hyped. Could you imagine if I introduced horse riding in 40,000? Sorry, 38,000 BCE. Oh my god. Could you imagine? Yes, it would be something like that. And then the way they would run would be, let's see. Like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. Oh. And then it could turn that way or that way. It would have to be like that, like a dancer. But no, it would have to be braced for impact. Surely, surely. Because then they would have... No, and then they would have kicked off like that, so it would be more like that. Ooh, I don't know. Ooh, that doesn't look right, does it? Okay. Suppose. It's a lot more fun with centaurs, because then you just don't have to change anything. You just sew the torso of a person onto the neck of a horse. So... yeah, it would be... Nah, I've exaggerated it a bit too much, haven't I? I didn't do my Wordle. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Ignore that. Shorter femur and shin, I think, would work. Do you think so, really? Really? Short femur in the show? I don't know. I feel like proportionally they're fine. It's just the... In fact, I think I could make this part quite a bit longer. Well, I know that's not the shin or the femur. Centaurs probably have like 6 stomachs. The Wordle. Yeah. It's a little late for me to do the Wordle now. I am in the middle of streaming. Also, super funny thing. Just before starting the stream, I was like, I'll watch one of my favorite YouTubers, and I was watching like a year-old arty game stream for needy streamer overload, and let me tell you, going straight from that into doing a stream is a heck of a whiplash. Okay, and then I don't know. Let's give him Uma Musume tail. Why not? I think it works. It's just running is like a little bit crazy. It's like it's maybe makes sense. Hang on, let me do this. Let me do a different pose and see if that still works. If I was a real artist, I'd do like a whole running animation, but I ain't doing that. This one is less like she's running and more like she's come to an abrupt stop. It's fine though. No. Let's do this properly here. Okay. Or would it be more like that? Because the idea is that like they're about to kick their leg forward and leave this foot off the ground. Which means if it was like this, they're not ready to kick forward yet, which means the foot would be more like that. But then that doesn't really look like they're running. Okay, that's fine. I'm overthinking it. Okay, so like that. So then that's what their leg would look like. That's a nice little detail as well. It's like the way that your legs look when they are folded is that you have all this like muscle and fat on the on the back of the shin here, kind of pressing into your thigh, and then that kind of, that's just the shape it makes. Guys, that's just the shape it makes. I don't make the rules. Yeah. Or would it make more sense for it to be more like... Ooh, no, it wouldn't. I'm sure people have done like satyrs and stuff like that, and they've like figured out the anatomy already. It's like that, and then like... Nah, it can only be flat on the ground. And yeah, that's about it. Huh. Maybe. It just looks like someone running in heels. I'm so sorry. It's just... Like, yeah, no, that's just heels. Oh no. In running, the foot falls below the center of gravity, otherwise you lose speed, said by someone who enjoys running. Lovely, okay. So their center of gravity would probably be like there, I guess? So it would be more like... I'm making, again, I'm just making assumptions. It's an exercise in track and field that of slapping the heel on the hands. Yeah, no, she's running in track and field. You've never seen an Uma Musume like this. Okay. I already have gotten distracted. Let's see what we're at. Okay, let's try that reference again. Ballerina. So we'll start with the... Sorry. Menacing thing to hum. Okay. So you can see the chin there, you can see that there, you can see that there. That's the shape of the head. It's just all very, like, very light sketches now. You can see the rib like that. It's a very dramatic pose. It's very beautiful, actually, the way that... I mean, it is... There's a reason ballerinas are so fun to use for these kinds of, like, exercises. Because they really... The whole point is that you're looking as graceful as possible. Nope, that needs to be a little bit lower. So I'm not aiming to get even the sizing right, really. I'm just aiming to get the feel of it right. Because a lot of people, when they start out, is they focus on like one aspect of, so like the face, for example, or they focus on this part, or they focus on like the hand up here, and then they try to work their way backwards, like even if they've done like a couple like quick sketches just to get the shape of it right, they don't get the feeling of it, and often like they wind up putting the arm slightly at the wrong angle, or that's actually something that I might do right now if I'm not careful. It's something I've done before, even now, trying very hard with anatomy. And at my ripe old age of... yeah, like that. And then the skirt comes out like that. But then I feel as if I've gotten the general shape of it, right? So everything feels like it's in the right sort of spot. And I haven't focused in on like any part of the one part of the body. The face has like maybe a little bit more detail, but that's just because I really needed to get it looking correct. And you have the... I'm talking like I know anything again, which is very funny. Trying to turn it into a lecture. Let's see. So her head is angled to the side as possible, but it's very difficult to get that exactly right. So you can see her nose is a little bit angled like that. Which means... And again, we're sort of starting off with like the rough outer lines, and then we're going to work our way, we're whittling. So this is exactly what we do here. Well, exactly what we do here. We're carving, we're shaping, we're sculpting, but we are doing it with line work instead of just like in silhouette. Or in 3D. So I can go very dark when I feel confident that that I've got it correct, even though I might still be wrong. And that way, I have informed myself as much as possible on what she looks like and where the lines should be. And a lot of artists do this just with shading. Whether it's hatch work, whether it's where you're working with very thick like lines, blocks, pastels, charcoal. Like, you can use pretty much anything for this kind of... I'm not a human, why are we drawing humans? You know, you gotta aim for like a general audience for some of these things. I kind of wish we still had hands, feet. I do kind of wish that sometimes, actually. That has crossed my mind in the past, I'm not gonna lie. Let's see. Oh, she's got this beautiful, like, headpiece. But it's all too much detail, and I'm not going to include that for an anatomy sketch, so we're just going to be doing some general shaping like that. And then the neck is one of the hardest things for me to do, because I draw very skinny little necks, because I do a lot of cartoons. And then, yeah, we're gonna put in... the way she's lit is, it's all backlighting, so you can see the silhouette very clearly, but I cannot quite see where her eye is. I can see where her forehead ends, but not anything else. So I think I might just... shape it out, question mark? No, we're gonna leave that actually. Then if I do, it's gonna lead into some more bullshit. I'm doing the thing again where I say I'll leave it and then I don't. Suspicious. We'll come back at it afterwards. Okay, and you can clearly see her neck here leading into... I think it's the clavicle. I think that's the correct term for it. And then her shoulder is kind of non-existent. It feels like her chest comes into the forefront and then you just see her arm like that up there. Oh, but that's actually not correct. Ooh, the angle's a little bit deeper. And her arm's a little bit up higher. Uh-huh. Da, 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 da. And then here you can very clearly see the muscle on her shoulder like that, right? And it's just this like lump. And it connects straight into the armpit, if I'm remembering correctly. I might not be. Yeah. And then there's always a little bit of fat in this part of the arm. It's the underside. It's the part that's always kind of pointing downwards. And that's just normal. That's gravity. It's also where the muscle is too, so, you know. Not on me, though. I have no muscle in my arms. Which you'd think would not happen since I work with my hands every day, but I guess it doesn't translate to the arm stuff, because it's... I actually can't exercise my arms, because if I do, I'm too sore to draw. So, for some reason... Let's see, yeah, so it's like that. And we're shaping her out still, so let's... And of course, when you're dealing with women, you have to put a little bit more into the chest. Yes, I know, I know, I know. We're all going to be very mature about it. I'm sure. We're just going to do a bit of shading. Again, it's like this whole area here is pretty much just black. And that's just because of the lighting, which means I maybe should have picked a better one to do this, but it's fine. Yeah, you do that, you do that. Leads a little bit more down like that. I am just a dense brick of muscle and fat. Yeah. Okay, and then here it's interesting because this is where her rib cage is. So you can see where she ends like that, and then that's where her arm begins, and then again that's that same like sort of like shoulder pad. That is me assuming. So again, I cannot see that that's going to be. And right, okay, and then here is where the underarm is. That's where all the hair grows. Sorry, very gross way to describe it. I've definitely mentioned this on a stream before, and even I think maybe even a video, but I forgot that people had armpit hair, like not just the woman, just men, everyone. I forgot that it happened because I never drew it. And then one day I had this sort of like, oh, right, that's a thing people have, kind of universally. And it kind of became a pretty important part of like Immortal's design, where it's like, oh, okay, everyone has to have this. This is like this is realism now. I can't go against this. Ooh, and this is the hard part with arms. Because ultimately they are just tubes, right? But you need to have these sort of defining shapes in them. Otherwise they just don't look correct. So you can see that is where you get the elbow. That whole part is where you have the entire joint of the arm. And then that comes in again, but because of the way that you can see the arm turned like this, you can tell that that is the underarm, which means that the elbow is on this side here, even if it is not front facing, I believe. Again, I'm working with the silhouette. And then even though I've done the arm pretty basically over here, there is another bit where when you turn your arm, so you have two bones in your forearm. That is called the forearm, yes. And when you turn your hand in one direction or another direction, it is either crossing the bones or turning them so that they lie straight next to each other. So crossed or straight. And that changes the shape of the whole arm. And so the way that she is posing here, her arm bones are like straightly aligned. So but then even then you still have this kind of like, it almost does look like it's twisted just in the shape of it. But because it's very difficult to include this as an artist without making the art look weird, because if you even add like you have to add it so incredibly subtly, because if you do it like a little bit too pronounced, it makes the arm just look strange. It looks anatomically incorrect even though you followed the rules. And that is why a lot of artists don't actually bother with that. They make it look like that, right? as difficult. That's a mark of a good artist, is that you are able to do that. Is her elbow visible? I can't tell. Anyway, and then of course you have your Da Vinci hands, where you can, again, there's so many different, very, very subtle differences in the hands, in the shape of them, and when I'm drawing without a model, my hands can look a little bit screwy. But what's even worse is that when I draw with a model, they look even screwier. So we're just not gonna attempt to do good hands today, I don't think. Ooh, how do barbers work at the start of Immortal, or do they just not cut their hair? I have excellent news for you. If you go onto the Patreon, there's a comic just about that. They cut their own hair. Sorry, I have to put the picture in at least once, you understand. Okay, okay, and we put the... Oh, and she is doing the thing where she puts her two middle and ring finger together. Just lucky me. Oof, yeah, no, that's... just looking at the difference between the actual model and me. Huh. Maybe I should show you? Can I save this? No, it just saves as a web page. Ooh, or could I? Yeah, that might actually be pretty valuable for you guys to be able to see it. Aha! And there we go. That took me how long? 20 minutes to think of to do? Yeah, you can see the hand is not handing. I'm gonna keep it open on my other monitor. Yeah. There we go. Now it's like you guys are included. So proud of myself for thinking of that. No, I've still not got it quite right. Problem is that it starts... Problem is that it starts there. And then... like that. I should have done my sculpting thing. See, I forget to do it, and that is why sometimes my art is not good. See, and then if you just... Aha! When did I ever say I was good at hands? Ooh, are the pictures you draw on stream available on some Patreon tier? The pictures I draw on stream. I mean, I do just normally do sketches on stream. I don't polish them up or anything, so I haven't really added any of them on Patreon. If I did, it would probably fall under extended images and materials, background content, which I believe is available on one of the lower tiers, if not the lowest tier. I need to double check that. I mean, if people are interested in it, I can for sure put them up. I just didn't think anyone would be interested in a bunch of pencil sketches. Okay. And And this is one of the biggest challenges with drawing references, I suppose, is that even when it feels like you're doing everything right individually, sometimes when it comes together, it doesn't quite look the same. And it's because of these minuscule little differences that your eyes can't catch. And that's, again, it's something that is part of the process of learning to draw, is that you develop your eyes and you develop your ability to see the small errors and mistakes. And it's so interesting because it's that is a very universal experience. I've heard about a lot of artists talking about, where it's like your eyes develop with your hands, but they develop at different speeds, and you tend to go through these like ups and downs of oh, my my art's looking amazing, and then that's because your hands have developed and your eyes can't quite catch up with it. Or then you go to this like very like low of like, oh, okay, well, you see my I can see all the mistakes that I've been making, and then you have to wait for your hands and your ability to sort of catch up with your eyes. I've heard the second one be more common than the first one, I will admit. But that's the interesting thing. It's why I guess you don't realize how much of a rabbit hole, or maybe you do. No, I think a lot of people know what they're getting into when they start drawing, actually. I was gonna say, like, people don't understand how like difficult it is and like all the ups and downs, and I was like, no, I think art is one of the few things where people know exactly what it is when they get into it. I think that would have been very ignorant, a very ignorant stance for me to take. Let's see, and then there's her hips. That's where that would start, assumedly. We're just gonna do very like generic sketchies just to get the skirts sort of in the image, but it's not a major part of it. Okay. Yeah, the cycle of we're so back and it's so over. Exactly. Oh, it's not just pencil sketches, it's memories from stream. Oh, that's nice. Or maybe I will put it on. Oh, that's a very nice. I genuinely didn't think anyone would care. Oh. Okay. Okay, and then I think the skirt's a little bit lower than that, isn't it? Yeah, a little bit like that. Sick. Okay. And then we have... You can see that is where the rest of her starts. And then, oh, she'll have this beautiful, so like bit there where that continues on. Or maybe she wouldn't. You'd definitely be able to see her rib cage and sort of all the, because it's athletes. You're always able to see the musculature and the musculature. Is that correct? We will see in time. Okay, so then let's, and then like that, and then like that, and then like that, and then. Oh, that's tricky. Ooh, okay, so it's like that, and then the ankle is sort of right above where the toes are. But then the way it's shaped is like that. Oh, you know a show I've been watching this whole week? It's really dumb. It's a really, really, really dumb show. It's really bad. It's... I'm I'm gonna get made fun of for this. I have been watching the new this K-drama on Netflix called Bon Appetit, Your Majesty. And when I say it is the most entertaining, nonsensical show I've ever seen, it is all of that and more. Each episode is 80 minutes long. It is a movie long. Oh, you guys are nice. I want the pumpkin toddler from last stream. Sneaking suspicion TC wants to sketch some video. Okay. I'll go back and I'll upload every, because I've saved all the files, so like I can't just go back and upload everything. If you guys want it that bad, I mean, it's like nothing. Okay. Boy, the ankle is killing me. Oh, okay. I can feel the pain in her ankle. I'm sure she's actually not in any pain. I just feel in pain looking at it. I have very weak ankles. Which is the excuse I use when I don't go walking. And getting my exercise. Okay, and we can just... Oh, very, very specific shape for the ballet shoes. Oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm gonna pretend that that's correct and just move on. Have you seen the way ballerinas like break in their shoes? It's crazy. Anyway, so Bon Appetit, Your Majesty. It is so long. That's not a drama, that's an opera. Yeah, so it's 80 minutes per episode. They have 12 episodes. It's a limited series, and I haven't finished it yet. I'm only on episode 8. Only. It's been like hours. I've been watching like one every night since the weekend when I started watching it. It's so good. But it's so like... It's very good in a very predictable, very fun way. And you can tell like they had a lot of fun filming it. Like the jokes are a little bit corny. It's very similar to a lot of rom-coms that I guess your parents would watch, with the twist being that it's like it's got time travel. It's got you know, it's set in Joseon, I think, Joseon period, Korea. And the whole plot is that this chef goes back, this Michelin star chef goes back in time. And then of course, because she's a Michelin star chef, she makes all this amazing food that no one's ever heard of or seen before. And it's a very fun show, and I like food. I like good food. So see, I like food, guys. I'm so quirky. No, but it's so interesting to see how things are made, and like working within the constraints of it. And then there's also like some court drama intrigue. There's like because it's all set because she meets the king, and the whole thing is that he's the male love interest, and so it's like her romancing the king, and he's got this like incredibly developed palate, and she makes all this food he's never heard of before. And every time anyone eats anything, it is absolutely hilarious. And you will know why if you watch it. So I am giving you the worst recommendation for a show in the world. You will think less of me once you've seen it. But I do not regret getting more people to watch it. It's very funny. Breaking news, person likes food, more at 6. Yeah, exactly. I like food. The thing I like less is how hungry it makes me when I watch the show. But it's very fun. Very, very over dramatic, very corny, but it's very entertaining to watch. And it better be at 80 minutes an episode. If it's still entertaining to watch, that is in itself an achievement, I think. Anyway. Okay. I think I've said my piece. That's my recommendation for the week. And again, it's not a good one. And I've already told people about the show. I've been talking about it all week, so there are for sure, like... Some of my friends from real life watch these streams, so they are gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. They are rolling their eyes right now. I can see you. This is my friend. Backflips type hilarious? Kind of. There is one character that keeps doing it. Backflips, I mean. He's actually one of my favorite characters. You barely see him, but he's very fun. He's the jester with many secrets. One of them is that he backflips a lot. I'm getting dangerously close to the horse girl running. She's trying to make contact. Oh, I don't know where her other finger goes. Yes, I do. It's over there. Okay. Okay. I think that's a fairly good attempt. I think everything's in proportion. Although, watch, I'll come back tomorrow morning and look at it and go like, ugh, what have I done? If you were a Tumblr artist, there's no space for me to think less of you. Oh, my heart. Oh, the very next heart. I can only think high of you. Oh, thank you, you saved it. Well done. Nah. It's like that David and God piece on the Sistine Chapel. Exactly, I was just thinking that. I think it's actually the same pose that God's hand, I'm gonna say. If you just like angled it a little bit, yeah. Maybe. Okay, I think that's fairly decent. Well, I don't know what shortcut that is that I keep. I've been doing it all week, and it changes it to the because I have the brush setting, and then I actually don't know what it's called. It's a different brush. It just looks worse. Yeah, it's the Warcrafty hand round, but it's like worse. It's like more pixeled. I think it might be a vector. I'm not sure. I'm scared of it, and I will not. I refuse to learn what it is. I will not do a single Google search. Ballerina creating the Uma Musume. How are we doing for time? Oh, we're making excellent time. Wonderful. In that case, what have I done? What else have I done? What else can we talk about, actually? I have a backup if we do run out of things, but a lovely back, yeah. I did my best. I don't know if it happens to you guys also, but after working for a long time on a piece on pixel art, I start seeing everything in squares. That's crazy. I'm so sorry. Actually, I should... Something I've been neglecting to do is go outside and look at things in the distance, which is not good for my eyes. I already wear glasses. I don't need them to get worse. What about your take on an elf? Oh, elves are so boring though, because it's just, it's all of this, and then you just... I'm so sorry, that's my opinion on elves. I guess maybe if they could, like, move. They could move their ears. But, like, humans can move their ears, too. Like, very, very slightly. But I feel like the movement would be more emphasized if they did have ears. But then if they could, like, move them like that, and then it would be, like... So, like... And then if they're sad, they go, like, down. I don't know. Even when you get, like, that kind of, like... What is the actual term for it? Like erratic? No? Ligamented? No. Fallon Totem in a chimera. Spoilers? What chimera form? Oh, Fallon! God, I'm thinking of a different show entirely. Fallon Toden in her camera. Okay, maybe that's cool. Hang on, wait. I've got to Google an image. She is actually, oh, she's just such a good character. She's so cute even when she's a monster. It's great. Let's see. Wow. Oh, lots of fan art. Oh, that's cute. Okay. Let's see if we can find something from the wiki. Thank you, wiki. I don't know, I feel like the creator's probably, like, already gone into intense detail on how she looks and works. That would be fun to draw, though. It's not exactly anatomy. It's more like just, let's draw cool thing. Cool thing, fun, look good. Hang on, let me... Oh, where did I put it? There it is. Okay. Ah, there it is. Thank you, Wiki. I know that's from the manga. It's so good. Yeah, that's not the manga. It's loading a little bit too slow. Ah. And then, of course, the upper body. Very cool. Such a cool design. It's so difficult. I wish I could get rid of that, but that's fine. It's such a difficult design to get right. Just because, like, you didn't want it to look like, okay, you've got this majestic, beautiful beast who's, like, all very well proportioned and, like, very, like, big. And then you've just got, like, this little guy on the top, right? Like, I think that looks weird, but they managed to accomplish, like, the creator managed to accomplish it in a way that looks good visually, which is so difficult, especially the animation. For the anime, it just looked so good. The way she moved, the way she looked, very, very interesting. Oh, Rock and Stone. How could you? Okay. I do get it, but I get it because I know someone who gets it. Does that make sense? Start throwing bars? No. Proposal for anatomy? Yoga pose. No. I've drawn yoga poses before, and I've drawn them recently, and never again. I'm sorry. Okay. Dungeon Meshi spoilers going hard right now. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, you're right. That is kind of a spoiler. Well, then I can't draw her, because that's even bigger of a spoiler. I don't think you have the space to draw that. That sounds like a challenge. You might be right, but that sounds like a challenge. I'm not gonna enlarge the canvas. I'm gonna do it. She's just a little guy. As a yoga practitioner, I'm sorry. It's just... Yoga is very fun to practice for anatomy. Like it's a very good way to do it. I have done it too recently, and I'm still scarred from the experience, so I cannot do it. Right now, I am so sorry. I'm sorry I let you down. Oh, the cosplays are pretty incredible. I mean, obviously they can't do the rest of her, but like from the waist up. I don't even know people were doing cosplays of her. Ah, there we are. No, is that fan art? It is. Okay. Sorry, I'm I'm closing the tab. Okay. Bye, Lawnmower. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming. Okay. Oh my god. Why do you do this to yourself? You don't need to draw the overcomplex camera. Okay. Fine. Tai Chi should be easier, but also the AI commercials or something else. That's the problem. I had to deal with a bunch of AI yoga poses. And they looked so bad and they were wrong. Ah! It's fine. Do it, Hannah, draw the Fallon, draw a calendar. Okay, no. I'm telling you what we're gonna do. So, we have draw the falling. Oh no. Maybe I could do. You guys are tempting me. You're getting me distracted. Okay, one more thing, and then on the turn of the hour, we'll switch over to the last thing. It'll be a little bit boring, but I hope that it'll be a little bit interesting just because of the content of it. Okay. That was the problem of drawing yoga poses? Yeah, I had to kind of figure out what was going on based on a bunch of like AI yoga poses and then like remake them, and it really sucked. It was, yeah. I don't know if I shouldn't really be talking about it. It's not very professional of me. It was like work related, but yeah, no, it's fine. Anyway. What you say? Thank you. No, okay. Hang on. Okay. Let's find like Greek art, because Greek art's very good for their poses. There we go. Okay. This is Icarus and his downfall. Let me know if you know this one. Okay. Ooh, or I could do the fall of Lucifer, because then he's got the wings. Aha. No, that's a terrible image. Is there a better one I can use? No, it's far too dark. I can't see anything. Thank you for being so angry about it, David. I feel very vindicated. Greek art, sorry. Renaissance art of Greek mythology. The art made by the Greeks was a little bit flatter. Okay. So, Icarus and his downfall. Oh, he's throwing him upside down. Maybe that isn't a good idea. Well, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's do that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. That's where his shoulders are. And there's his shoulder pads, and then his arms go up like that, and then his rib cage goes like that. And he's at an angle, so you can kind of see like that. Oh. And it's like that. So you want that, and then of course there's the rest of him over here. And he's got like a very well placed cloth covering everything else, but that's fine. And he's got that and like that. And if you want him to be, he's a little bit splayed out. He doesn't quite know what hit him, I don't think. The power of the sun. Why do you think ancient art was flatter? It's because complex perspective wasn't very well utilized up until I believe it was Da Vinci. I might be wrong. My art history knowledge is very old and my memory is very bad, so I could be wrong. But yeah, that was, I believe, what made Leonardo da Vinci so impressive was because he could utilize very complex perspective. Whereas Greek art, depending on like which period you're looking at, their sculptures were amazing, but they were still quite stiff in their posing. If I am again still remembering, what we typically know like as Greek art were Renaissance recreations of their mythology and figures and characters. That was done in kind of this very beautiful, glossy, anatomically correct, very perspective-heavy styles. Maybe not perspective-heavy, but like when we think of classical art, we think of that kind of art, that period of art. I'm talking quieter because I'm not entirely sure. I'm like, everything I'm saying I'm like 80% sure is true, but there's still that 20% that's like, am I making this up? Am I misremembering everything I've ever learned? Da Vinci. Da Vinci. Oh no. Da Vinci? Da Vinci? I mean, when I was taught at school, they pronounced it Da Vinci. So I'm not sure. It might be a case of like different places pronounce it in a different way. Icarus is a himbo that looked too much at the sun. They told you not to look at the eclipse, boy. Look at him. No structure. No poise. He's just falling. I think that's almost definitely, no, that's definitely the intention of the painting, is that like he's not posing graciously, he's just kind of hanging. Not hanging, he's currently falling. Because his father is posed quite nicely, where he's looking like that and like that, with his arms outstretched with the wings. You can see his body like that, and then, yeah. Yeah, so he's posing for it. He looks a lot more put together. Whereas poor Icarus just kind of looks like he's already dead. We'll do a quick sketch, I think. We don't need to go into the same amount of detail as before. We'll just get the generals, right? The Renaissance men are coming to town. Ah, that's what I was thinking about. They had that complexity but did not translate to the art. So when I think of Greek art, I think of their pottery and the sort of silhouettes that they had in their designs for it. Just gorgeous. Oh, they also had that statue of Athena. I believe it was in the temple of the city that she was. No, it was the city she wasn't. I'm getting everything wrong. Never mind. I remember nothing and I know nothing. It's much easier following a piece of art, so you don't have to like make up all the lines and stuff yourself. They've already done it. Yeah, you can see where he's put the shoulder pads, but he's like outlined it. Can I also take a photo of this screenshot? Yes I can. There's no nudity. Okay. I had to like look at it for a good minute. There we go. See? No grace, no poise, no elegance. Very impressive that they managed to draw him with that angle, though. Of his face, I mean. Let's see. So we have that, and then... This is because he's upside down, don't get me wrong. There we go. No, it's all vases. I learned as much from Disney's Hercules. No! It's frescoes, statues, mosaics, and much more. Yeah, I know. That's just always the one that comes to mind. Takes me a minute to see if I remember anything else. Okay. It's also interesting the way that they did draw bodies back in the day, because they really weren't these like heavily muscled, dehydrated bodies for like the men especially. They just were bodies, and that's pretty important actually, considering a lot of the models that people, like artists nowadays, tend to learn on. It's getting better slowly, but it's still kind of got its roots in like, oh, this is what the perfect body should look like, and this is what you should be drawing. These Adonises for the beauty standards of right now. And it's very refreshing to see just like average figures. And it's like, yeah, no, you can see like this here. You see it in people in real life, but you don't see it as much in bodybuilders because it's normally blocked by all the abs. Or maybe I'm talking nonsense. Maybe they're just getting there and I'm wrong. Pretty sure I saw Elon Musk with this. Very pronounced. Hey, well done. Well, not well done, but like congrats. Hope you enjoy your 4-day weekend. Oh, that'd be nice. Okay, we don't have to do the cloth in any detail because I don't want to. Wow. Yeah, that's as good as it's gonna get, I'm afraid. Hey, congrats! Happy birthday! Hope you enjoy your 3-day weekend. Almost as good as 4. Actually, just as good as 4, because it's got a birthday in it. Okay. Let's see, and we're just gonna do like some rough ankles. That's where the curve of them is, and you have 4 feet are hard. Okay, so you got that. Actually, this is very impressive. Or were they just showing off with all the toes? Mayhaps. Probably not. That's probably just how the pose wound up being. Let's see. Oof. Oh yeah, happy Black Friday, everyone. I am not celebrating this year. Pointless excursion. I don't know. Black Friday deals here aren't that impressive, unfortunately. Although I hear they're not that impressive nowadays anyways. Like no matter where you are. No one would kill another person over these prices, that's for sure. Ah, it's convenient that it falls next to my birthday. That's amazing. Oh, yeah. You get a discount. That's sick. Post some Hellenistic statues on the surface so you can see how wrong you are. Ah, okay, okay. I accept my schooling. Let's see. He's fine. It's actually quite convenient. They look like they're reaching out towards each other. Okay, okay, okay. Sorry. That's quite an interesting pose for the hand as well. I wonder how they had the model sit for this to be. I suppose he must have been lying on a platform and then leaning over, and then maybe they did the foot separately. Or maybe no, they definitely used a model for this. Sorry, I'm trying to think. Like, did they even have? Did they have models back in the? Did they have like people who could just stand in one spot for a while back then? I have to assume there was a model used for this. I refuse to believe otherwise. Oh. I'm not yawning, you're yawning. He kind of looks like he is on his back reaching for something over a ledge. Yeah, I can see it, I can see it. So they might be real people. Bye Adrian the Immortal, thank you so much for sticking around. I think the Mona Lisa was a real person. Yeah, I believe so too. I think it's quite controversial over who exactly she was, or we only recently discovered who she was, something, something, something. I've definitely made his legs too small, but I think that's because I was trying to fit them in frame. So, just... nice little trick you can do with digital art that you can't do on regular art is completely screw up the image. Yeah, no, this looks quite bad. I can see where I've gone wrong in places. No, he's also quite a bit more buff, hey? He skipped leg day, but by god is he strong. Okay, and then we'll just, I think that's a good spot to leave him in. And it is now 11:06, which means we can, start on the next section. If you guys are comfortable with it, I've actually been working on some designs for the new video that's coming out. Because it's going to be a very small, not small, but it's it is anatomy adjacent, because I had to design a lot of humanoids for it, and I don't think I'll explain all of it because that's for the video. But I will show you guys, and if you are interested in it, I can work on it, which would be quite nice, because then I get some stuff done. But also, if it's not that interesting, I would also understand that as well. Real people might exist, not sure though. What is chat going on about? No, Hannah not interested? Okay, sick. Don't worry, guys. We'll find something else to do, it's okay. Now, what would an Uma Musume look like with goat legs? Okay. I mean, since you guys insist. Let me save this right here. And God willing, I haven't accidentally replaced this with something completely different. Hello. Okay, so this is going to be for the new video, just a bunch of visuals for it. Ignore the funky underwear. I thought it would be a fun gag. But yeah, we're going to be working on a bit of an evolutionary project for Immortal. And this is kind of just the visuals we'll be using for that exactly. So they might not all be used together. Some of them might be used, some of them might not be used. By not be used, I mean in the same space. Did I put you at 90? I did. So yeah. Yeah, 8 men, pretty much. This is the start of it as well. So you're going to see this quite early in the video, so it's not too spoilery. Australopithecus in your Sick! Only these aren't Australopithecus. This is a Dignus condor. Which was a working title until it became the title for the species. Because the idea was like, oh, we'll do it in Latin. Or we'll come up with a new name for it completely. And then I kind of just gave them a Latin name, and then the Latin kind of stuck, even though it won't likely exist as Latin exactly in the canon. Just because the actual... they won't have Latin. It's a bit of a confusing thing to specify. I understand that. Let's put you here. But yeah, no. So that's what I've been up to. Just for the last of today. Not today, the last like 2 weeks. Took a long time to get all of their sketches sorted out. Because it's just the start of the line, and then we have just a bunch more later that we're just going to kind of work our way through in the video. So yeah, but those are surprises. You will not see them today. Dingus. Yeah, no, so it's not a real species. It's fictional just for Immortal. The idea was that we were going to create our own, and you'll see why we did it in the actual video, but just for the sake of Immortal and the sake of the inner world building for it, we're going to be making, well, we made our own line of evolution, which was really fun and very stressful, but also very fun. Mostly very fun. Oh, I heard that they were South African hominids. Yeah, they were. They were called Homo naledi. And they were discovered near Joburg in South Africa, which is very cool. And I very much want to see their not just the location where they were discovered, but also the bones, the skeleton, the display that they have for them, which is at the, I believe, the Cradle of Humanity site near Joburg. I went there earlier this year, but it was for Comic-Con, so I didn't have any time in between to go and visit. I pitched it, but it was just not to be. I went with a bunch of friends, so it kind of was voted out. It's okay. One day I'll go on my own, and then I will be able to explore. So... nice. Cutie. Yeah, so you can see there's a bunch of different ages, different genders. I tried to kind of get a decent range of it just so you can see all the different angles and body types. I feel like the underwear takes you out of it a little bit, but it was very funny when I started drawing it, and then I just kept doing it for all of them, so they are all gonna have that, unfortunately. Little bit of an immersion break. Nope, let's not do that. Anyway, so the idea is that they're very similar to humans, with the exception that they have differently shaped faces. They're a little bit wider, and they have much larger rib cages as well, and they're quite a bit stockier, as you can see as well. But other than that, they're still pretty similar to humans. They have the same structure, the same bodies. Not quite the same level of intelligence, but that's just because we're working millions of years in the past, and presumably hominids from that time, because they had smaller skulls, the assumption was that they had a smaller brain size, therefore they were less intelligent, which is a bit unfortunate because I don't really like... there are unfortunate implications that can be made from it, but I'm hoping that that's not something that I have to bring up, even though I brought it up on my own. But yeah. I was away for 20 minutes, what happened? We're moving on, we moved on. This is a sneak peek into the new video. Just because I had some work to do, and this is kind of anatomy related. I guess it must be a bit wild if you just kind of left and came back, yeah. It was kind of inspired. Ah. Oh, mine also aren't Australopithecus, they are the Mangani, but whatever, different stuff, I guess. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, it's not like it's copyrighted, it's the idea of alternate evolution or using your own, like, historical species. That's a pretty fun idea. It'd be cool if more people did that. Let's see. No gatekeeping. That's not something I ever want to do. It's like gatekeep, especially not my audience. That would be rude. That would be wild to make writing videos. And like, but you guys can't do this stuff. I mean, I get that this won't be a writing video. It'd be pretty crazy if it was, and then I just spent the whole time talking about my own stuff. But yeah. Now, the actual video will be not so much a tutorial as it will be just sort of like, hey, I did a thing. This is how I did it. Ta-da! Ah, I see what the problem is. There we go. Ah, hi! Hi, Tolman! Oh, I just don't want to end up accidentally copying you. Valid concern, but I wouldn't mind even if you did. I mean, it's especially if you had already come up with the idea before you even heard about mine. Because then I'm fairly certain there'll be at least enough of like a difference. Even if, like, I mean, okay, plausible deniability, but also if it originated from a different place in a different space in your mind, and you're a completely different person from me as well, I'm sure it was different enough in its own right to not even have to worry about that sort of stuff. I am saying this in a very long and convoluted way. It's chill. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a bit boring. It's still a bit boring. How about... There you go. Bit darker, but still there in spirit. Naledi is the superstar among South African hominids. I mean, doesn't it mean star? It does. Very cool. It's a lot of dingus though. Oh no! Sorry, Phoenix. Oh yeah, the home and the lady were really cool. For some reason, a leopard enjoyed eating them and stashed them in the cave. I've never heard that theory before. That's very fun. I think it's pretty much determined that they were burying their own dead there, or at least leaving them there. It's part of the discussion around whether or not, you know, they were, you know, because it's one of the hallmarks of being considered humans, like, or an intelligent species, is did they bury their own dead, because I believe it was only the Homo sapiens who really properly buried their own dead. And no, also the Neanderthals. And it's like a question of emotional intelligence and what that means to be human and what makes them human. It's a very interesting, convoluted question. But at the same time, it's... No, I've lost my train of thought completely. I'm so sorry. But yeah, no, Homo naledi are pretty sick. I hope I haven't made them too red. I'm a bit worried about that. I suppose you could call it a creative direction. No, I think it's just fair that I've made that red. That's nice. That's a decent variation of color in that case. But then again, no one knows and we weren't there to see it, so we can only speculate based on what we find buried in context. No, absolutely. There were carvings found in the cave that were sort of these triangular sort of like shaped patterns. Let me see if I can vaguely remember. They were quite abstract, but they looked a lot like that. Which does imply, and then they also found cold fireplaces and etc, etc. So it is entirely possible, but at the same time, I know what you mean, where it is also still up to question. And we'll never really know. We can only just make our best assumptions based on the information we have. And they're fine. Okay. Shadow. I will say though, these guys are very fun to draw. The whole process has been pretty fun, but because I did all the sketches to start off with, because I was trying to figure out, okay, this is how like they all look. I got really bogged down in it, and it took a really long time. And so now for the finals, I'm like, I'll just do it in like a sketchy-ish style. So it's like simple. It means I can make all like, because I think there's like 6 to 7 per, and then there's about 8 different species that we're going to be covering. So, oh, it's a lot of drawing. So it's nice that I'm doing. I've given myself the small luxury of being able to just do it in a slightly more like sketchy style, so I don't have to spend an extra hour on each one making sure that the details are all fine and adding highlights and extra little bits here and there, which is quite nice. Although I wouldn't mind doing it because I think they would look quite good. That's cool as fuck. The leopard had an interior design sense. Ah. I still cannot get over the fact that the species in it. No, it's Dignus. Not Dingus, it's Dignus. It means dignified. Oh, that's not gonna work. It's not Dingus, guys. This can't be your first reaction after I show you my stuff. This is really important to me. We're tolerant. Oh no. Not Dignus. Dingus. I'm gonna cry. Yeah, no, chat's decided. I can't say anything one way or the other. Should have taken them more seriously. I should have called them something else. It's fine. I've come to I'm at peace with it. I've come to terms with it. Time to exercise the restraint. Yeah. How many species? Not that many. You'll see in the video. It's fine. Or I guess roll back the footage for the stream and you'll find out then. I am keeping my mouth extremely shut because I do not want to spoil everything. This is a sneak peek and nothing more, okay? No, wait, I read it. I'm sorry. It's no way. It's very funny, I think. Nah, it's fine. We can call them dingus. Call them something more impressive in the comic, and then in the fan, we can call it dingus. My feelings. Okay. And of course, all the lighting is coming from like this direction. Because, as I've mentioned before, that's just my default. Why think about it and come up with interesting lighting angles when you just have to do it from the top right side every time. And then you just don't have to turn your brain on. Yay. That's another thing I neglect. It's anatomy and then lighting. Which one would argue are like the key pillars of art. I live in constant fear that I'm going to be kicked out of the artist group chat. You know, the universal art group chat. The Reddit one. Oh no. Oh, I hope none of you get that joke. Let's see. Okay. I'm not yawning. I still don't know how to do lighting. You and me both. We are in the same boat. You and I. We're gonna get excommunicated. I have no idea if mummies can get eaten after a while or if they are unappetizing. Well, apparently the Victorians ate them. Like late Victorians, I think. They would do mummy unwrappings and then they would eat them like jerky. And then also turn them into paint. I believe people thought they were medicinal. You know? I mean, clearly they didn't consider it cannibalism, so it must have been long enough for them to not look like really dehydrated humans. Ah. Every time I look over at the heart print boxes, I start giggling. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. That was the goal. That was it. You are the target audience. Thank you so much. I'm delighted to hear that. Because I really did go back and forth on whether I should include them or not. Oh, sick. Okay. Cute. Okay. And we're going to put that at a 50% and multiply. And then we are going to make that 90 to lighten them up. And now they match their brothers and sisters. Okay. Oh, this one I'm a bit worried about. So this was like the whole point, is right. I was practicing anatomy doing all this. And it's a little bit trickier because they are just humans, but slightly different. And I didn't know how different to make them. And I hope that I've made them like different enough that you can like see that just on the surface level. I think you can see that the best with I think you can see this best with her. But at the same time, I worry that that's maybe not the case. That they maybe look too human or but I think at this stage of their development, more human is probably better than less human. Because we don't want super rapid change over like the time period that we're working with. So hopefully that's okay. We shall simply have to see when all the actual people who know what evolution is supposed to look like show up and tell me if I did a good job. Oh, sorry. Okay. Found the button. Especially male anatomy. I tend to struggle with slightly more because there is a lot of... You can make a real argument for like the exaggeration of like the female form, right? But then I find that makes it easier to draw them, even if I'm not trying to sort of emphasize anything. It's just when it's men. I've said this before as well. There's a lot of subtlety there that I feel I miss, which is not very good. But alas, I am not skilled enough to fix it. It is something I must simply practice. I think I did a decent job with these two, though. Again, there's the back. It's what I was working on before I started the stream as well, so I guess it makes sense why I was discussing it. Why did I put the shadow on his back there? Oh, that does not look good, actually. And I'm just... They both look bad. Okay, I'm just gonna erase it and not think about it. Professor Fastmouth, I was going to eat that mummy. Yeah, no, the joke was part of that. Eating mummies sounds disgusting. I'm sure it was. Yeah. Yeah, medical cannibalism is oddly common. I am reading a book in which a guy is like participating in that to help treat people with dwarfism. Really? How would that help with dwarfism? Is the... Oh... I'm not gonna ask a question. I'm not gonna ask anything. I'm just gonna be baffled and stay that way, I think. I don't think I want to know. Oh, I wish I had the tools you have, but that shadow trick looks really useful. It's fairly simple. Most art programs come with the ability to change your layers into like multiply layers. So what I do... Oh, I forgot to turn them into a multiply layer. Ta-da! Okay. The idea is... let me pull this out so you can actually see what I'm working with. So you have a layer here, right? And you can pretty much color it in any kind of color, but purple is pretty good for shadows. Purple, blue, don't ever do green. Green is really bad. You can sometimes do yellow if it's like a warm. If you look at the my little VTuber character, I've done the shading in pink and like a deeper sort of purple. And then this is just the layer that I'm working on, and it's just a normal layer, right? And then you can change it down to multiply, that just makes it darker, and then you lower the opacity. 50 is a pretty good average, and then you just have your multiply layer, and it just goes over the top and makes a shadow over whatever you're doing. So that's pretty easy to use. It requires that you understand like layers and multiply and like changing the effects of layers to like normal, dissolve, darken, multiply, color burn, near burn. Overlay is a pretty common one for lighting. Screen as well is also pretty common for lighting. But no, it's super simple. As long as you have like an art program, like most of them do that, or have a form of it, even if they don't call it the same thing, which they should, because everyone's trying to be like Photoshop, and I think it's fairly standardized language, but I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while since I've used anything other than Photoshop. Stuff I should be doing anyways. This is all just like work for the video. You are not my mother, I will do green. Oh, on PixArt. Oh, right, pixel art. It might be different then. But for sure you can try green, I guess. Who am I to stop you, my child? That's a terrible color for his eye. That's the thing as well, is I should be sticking with browns. I think just a plain, boring... Well, not boring, but just a plain brown is smart. And then just a very, very deep red to sort of imply that the gene that gives red eyes that like Tala herself has also been passed down. Because I know exactly which areas have those traits in the quote-unquote like modern day by the time Tala comes around. I just need to cross-reference them with the actual evolution art. But that is right, because they have like a deep red in the part of the world where they come from. The southern continent. I don't know what a good color is for those. I've done yellow, blue, blue, red, yellow. I'll do green. I was gonna give him green eyes. Now I'm giving him a green underwear. And then let's go. I also did no research on what these actually look like, so if they look like something you've never seen before, that's probably why. I was like, that's probably what like men's underwear looks like, right? Well, I'm certainly not gonna Google it, and then I just didn't. Just to clarify, these guys will be extinct by Tala's time. Yes, absolutely. Evolution is a really slow process that human brain cannot really process. You're absolutely right. It is insane to think about the amount of time that's passed. Like, sometimes I kind of regret setting the story so far back. Just because I am gonna do a lot of time skips at the very beginning of the comic. Just because I need to get moving. But at the same time, it's kind of integral that she starts out where she does, and then I can't really change it, so I'm not gonna change it, but it's just a challenge. But it's interesting, and it was my choice, so I cannot complain. Let's see. I can understand some of what you're saying. Great. This reminds me that I should probably be working on the main variants of my humanoid species in my story. Go for it! Do it! Nothing is stopping you except potentially exhaustion. And if that's the case, you should lie down instead. That's better for you. But if you're feeling impassioned and vibrant, you should do it. I'm gonna make such a good, like, old retired art teacher in my 60s. It's gonna be great. That's right, I'm planning ahead. Assuming the universe has not blown up. And we still have art teachers. I've depressed myself. Well, I feel like it often makes small scribbles and sketches. That's perfect. That's all you gotta do. To be honest, we should be planning to peak in our 60s. Yeah. I mean, by then I might be able to afford a house. So... I make jokes that are very, like, US-centric, but they are kind of problems we have here, too. No one young can afford anything. And it's very hard to tell if that is just the process of aging and building up your own, like, name in the world, or just like, oh, you're actually screwed. It's not supposed to be this hard. You're kind of screwed. And one day we'll find out which one it is. But by then it shall be too late. I've given him such an interesting beard. I didn't realize until it was... Makes the rest of his face look so small. It's fine. I'm keeping it. I think it's funny. They didn't have beard maintenance back then, okay? Personally, I peaked at age 2. It's been downhill from there. Yeah, ever since you learned how to walk. When you learn how to walk, the world opens up to you, and that's when it starts going wrong. See, you can draw as much as you want, but the minute you stand up, that's when your legs hurt, because you've been sitting all day. No, let's keep it like that. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Not make it too indented, otherwise it's gonna look a bit strange. I've also given him... You can see the muscles on the corner here, but I've not given him, like, any other forms of definition. There you go, that's a bit better. It's a little bit more better. Oh, has the... No, it hasn't. Sorry, I thought the music stopped. I just put my headphones on a lower volume and I couldn't hear the new song that was coming up. Oh, it's so quiet that Spotify's not picking it up either. It's fine. It was fading out anyway. Hey, hi, Viking! What am I coming into? Yeah. So it is anatomy. It's just, it's also, extra work that I'm doing for the video. And so it's a little bit of a sneak peek. If that is something you are interested in. So we've kind of abandoned the anatomy stuff, but we did work on it for 2 hours. Sure, I'm glad I stopped by. I would have missed out on this. All the shading. It is still technically anatomy. Is the excuse I'm sticking to. Let's go for 50 multiply. He's fine. And then we're gonna put you to multiply, and we're gonna put you to 90. There we go. And now he matches his peers. Okay. Let's compare her. The problem is that the shade that I'm putting the rest, like the line art in, it's to match the rest of the video so that it's all sort of in line and in the same color. However, it does mean that I have to lighten everything else up color-wise to match it, which I'm a little concerned about. But I guess it's fine as long as I don't overthink it. Which I never do. I'm gonna be giving her red hair so I can change it later. And then the idea is that you can see them, like pre-pubescent, you can see the amount of hair on their bodies, where it starts, where it ends. It's on their feet, but not on their legs. It's on their hands, but not on the rest of their arms. It's covering most of their back, which unfortunately you cannot quite see. But it is there. And then, of course, they have this, like, glorious sort of, like, mane almost. Like, their hair sort of transitions into the rest of their, like, upper body fur. And then you get sort of like your prepubescent, where it's like, so you can see she's starting to grow it on her legs proper, but then the idea is that puberty then adds more hair to their bodies, and so they wouldn't be born with that huge amount of it, right? And then of course as we go, the species are going to start losing their hair, start changing, look slightly more different with each new iteration, which of course is the point. But yeah, that's been like a really fun thing to like have to think about while drawing these as well, which is why it took 2 weeks. This is kind of all I did. I checked today and the editor has like edited pretty much all of the videos, so they're just waiting on the art. And it's like, oh fuck. I'm holding back the process. But guys, it was for a really good reason. I had to draw a lot of these. And it was kind of economical of my time. Maybe. Anyway, don't expect it to come out like super soon though. So this isn't like an announcement of like when it's coming out or when it's not coming out. There's a lot of stuff to focus on in the background. I want to change up some extra things like the music, and I just don't know how long that's going to take. But I can guarantee that I will be trying to get this out as soon as I can. So that is kind of all I can promise. I am sorry. Right, yeah, so a mix of black and brown seems about right. And then we'll also give her some deeper sort of orangish brown eyes. I think that'd be quite nice. Shadow Wizard money. That's the first thing I see. Now Hannah is doing her job, yeah. Can you believe it? Your hard-earned Patreon money at work. I guess the pains of male puberty, hair growth everywhere. Well, what if I told you this was female puberty? Do not beep at me. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. Okay, let's go for a nice... Okay, we're going red again. At least it evens out the colors quite nicely. It almost looks like a vintage catalog. Except the clothing on the clothes. The clothes are not vintage. It's like a fairly modern costume I put her in. Make that a little bit darker. We'll color that in. Yeah, that looks a bit better. Looks intentionally messy. As opposed to accidentally messy. Dear God, women get puberty too when all these horrors end. Oh no. I can't be the one who told you this. Where are your parents? Sorry. Okay. And clipping mask, and we'll put the purple back in. And there we go, and we are here. And there. And a little bit over here. The new summer hominid line from JCPenney, yeah. Also, one of these people is Tyler's great-great-grandmother? I mean, statistically, probably. At least one of them has to be somewhat related to her. Especially after all the bottlenecks. She's not even around the areas where there are bottlenecks. I don't know why I said that. Oh, hi Tix! You missed a lot. But it's fine. Oh shoot, Tom is flying. It is almost time to leave, jeez. Okay, not yet, not yet, not yet. I want to show you the next line and then we will... I'll finish these, I'll show you the next line and then we'll go back to anatomy and pretend we were doing that the whole time, okay? This is technically anatomy though. I'm still standing by it. Yeah, everyone's watching me do my job, which is a very interesting experience. It's like having the boss at the table. Okay. Let's multiply 50, and then we go back here and we turn that multiply into... Wait, turn into 50. Nope. 90, not 50. And there we go. Nice. Okay. That's pretty decent. There we go. Now we're doing monkey. Chief Jomango. Yeah. Okay. Just so you can see the sketches for the rough ones, okay? So this is Dignus Ornatus. And this is going to be the next ones that come after Dignus Conditor. And as you can see, they are quite a bit smaller. Slightly smaller. And cuter, in my opinion. And they are also interesting in that they've got unique patterns on their fur and skin, which is fun. The dingus, yeah. Well, thanks. I hope the video comes out soon too. Thank you for saying I'm doing a good job. That will fuel me for weeks. Some furry folks right there, sus. How could you? The accusations I get. I am sharing. No, don't say they're onto something. Should have provided a height meter. I probably will add it after the fact. And then I'll have to like properly height adjust them so I can see. Because the idea is that there's still variation, right? You don't want them to all be the exact same like 4'7" height or whatever. 4'7" is a crazy height to be. Sorry, 5'5". Just because that's not interesting. Doesn't show a lot of variation. It's not very fun. So hopefully, by swapping around and making them a little bit more varied, you'll be able to see over time the drift. But not super strict on it, you know? But yeah, no, maybe a height chart would be smart. I was just focusing on them looking pretty. They're all 3 feet tall max. Yeah, sorry, my bad. Just a little baby. And then, yeah, it's a Conditor, and then Ornatus. And then the rest are a surprise. Anyway, back to the stream. Gosh, guys, so it's been a great time. I really tried with Icarus, but as you can see, he fell anyways. That's what an alien would look like. That's what an would look like. Let me take away the image. There we go. That's what horse run. So yeah, that's about it. Let's see. Hang out with chat for a bit. Oh, happy Thanksgiving. I'm from America. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody who celebrates. I am envious of your turkey, but not envious of your holiday. I will not elaborate. Turkey is kind of my favorite meat, though. If I could, I would make my own for Christmas, because that's when they start selling them, is around Christmas. Yeah, but they are so expensive. I shall, and I don't know, I've never cooked anything like a chicken in my oven, and I'm a bit scared to start with a turkey. It flew too close to the sun, yeah. My streamer will use the metric system instead of the imperial. I am a bit weird where I use like height for people in feet, and then just nowhere else. It's a bit weird. It's a bit strange. I don't know why I do it. I know other people my age who do it, but I think it's just like lingual drift from being online for too long. Like, I could not tell you how tall I am in meters. Actually, or in feet, so maybe I shouldn't say that. Why are we talking about the Libria Dolphins? You want to go into the Debris top. It's good for person. Nice warm and tarpet. I love that we did Ananatenenomy the whole time. Yeah. I got so angry with it, I beat it into next week and then I moved on to something else. That or it kicked my ass and I ran away. We will decide. That's up to you. It's like a choose your own adventure story. We can celebrate Black Friday though? Of course we can. It's always Black Friday if you are on if you buy a thing on sale. Happy Black Friday, everyone. Time to try smoking a whole turkey? Sick. I personally would like to put it in a whole pot of oil because I've never seen those firefighters try to do it and blow up spectacularly. I never trusted you. Aww. Cruel and rude. And cruel and rude. The 6-foot beam rewired our brain. Maybe. Yeah. The whole, oh, it's a 6-foot standard for like guys. Maybe that's where it got popularized. Probably not though. I'm probably thinking of something completely different. I think that's just how most English-speaking places do it. I guess I've never had like a doctor measure me and go like, "Oh, you're you're like 5'8" or something." Like it's always in meters. Like that's the standardized measurement for here. So I don't know. Nah. Legally, she can't tell us her height. Yeah, no. Then you'll be able to find me. If you've got my height, my name, and my location, I'm screwed. Okay. It is just about 3 hours, which means I have upheld the the title of the stream. Ignore that hour break in the middle, but that's fine. So I think I will leave it here. Thank you all very much for coming. Thank you for watching. Especially thank you for watching if it is Thanksgiving where you are, and I appreciate that very much. That means a lot to me. Sorry that you arrived very just as we ended text. We do know she's like Mao heights. Mao. Mayo. Mao high. Oh no. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. This was a lot of fun. I'm very happy I got to share a little bit of like a sneak peek of the new video with you guys. That has been like a goal of mine since I started streaming. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do like a sneak peek stream or something. That sounds wrong, but I'm gonna like secret content or like to be seen or like just something like that. I thought it'd be fun. I'm very glad that you guys didn't boo me off stage for that one. Okay, told man, I'll check my DMs. I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay. Oh, thank you for being here the whole time, Rosemary. I really appreciate that. Rare Apothecary Diary reference. My favorite show. My favorite court drama. Second only to the other favorite court drama that I'm gonna go watch right now. Actually, okay. The Wordle, it's too late, it's midnight. The Wordle is gone, I've missed it. I've ruined my streak. Okay, I'll drink water. Happy Black Friday, happy Black Friday. Okay, I shall see you all next week. Love y'all, question mark. Bye!